Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I'm your host, DBoss, and I just do want to thank the viewers for sticking with me all through the COVID, through the pandemic. You know, we're still coming out here. Yes, we're a little bit slower here in Canada, but we're going to get there. But today, I got a very special guest on, and they're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of different short films, movie releases. So the company is called Black Market Releases and announces the Black Queer film, and it's called With Wonder. So with no other further ado, I want to introduce to you Byron Kent Wong, so he could tell us exactly what's going on.
Hey, DBoss, how you doing?
I'm good. I was just wondering, it's a lot of verbiage there for the film.
There's a lot to talk about when it comes to this film, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to tell everybody, what's your background, Byron, and just tell everybody where you come from.
My background started actually in the music industry, and I was born and raised in Vancouver, and then came out to Toronto, and have been working in film and documentary and content for the last 15 years, and it's been a remarkable change. But using sort of the things that I loved about music production and telling stories, that's what we're doing now on a documentary and feature film and television level now.
Oh, okay. So you said you were in the music industry.
For a very long time.
So what genre of music did you play?
Well, I was working with a lot of bands in the late 90s and early 2000s at bands like David Usher and Moist and Our Lady Peace, and a lot of the Canadian bands that were doing things. And then our peer group, who are still part of our team, we're in a band called Bass is Bass, and that's Chin and Jetty and Roger Mooking, who have done so many incredible things. Chin has gone on to win multiple Grammys, and Roger Mooking, of course, has gone on to host numerous cooking shows around the world and have restaurants named after him and such. So this is the group that I came up with in all those years back, 20 years back. So, and they're still dear friends today. So yeah, people like that.
So when you were working, were you the singer, or did you play something, or what did you do?
Oh no, I was a music producer back then, and a writer, and so I would help guide the way songs and productions were created, and in a very similar way to what a producer or director does now in documentaries and in feature films and in television. So I just sort of used some of my understanding and knowledge of that, and applied it to more visual storytelling in the last long while.
Okay, so what made you want to produce this film? It's a queer film, and it's called. And so, what made you want to create something like that?
Well, With Wonder is a very, very special film, and I say that, and I'm so grateful to be part of it and to have had anything to do with actually it being in the world. But I really feel that in many ways, With Wonder is really a story and a collection of stories that have been out in the world for some time, and just maybe needed a small group to kind of collect them and to share them. And so why I thought this was such an incredible story to tell, it really came from our friend Daniel Bartholomew Poyser. Now, Sharon, who directed With Wonder, she and I worked on another documentary called Disruptor Conductor, and that was about Daniel Bartholomew Poyser. And Daniel, if you don't know, is Canada's only openly gay Black symphony conductor, and it's almost become like it's a title that's really not appropriate. He's so many more things. He's a remarkable musician and arranger and composer. He's now a host on CBC. He's guiding symphonies around the world. But when we first met Daniel, and we made Disruptor Conductor, it was very much about his journey as to wanting to bring drag into the symphony world for the first time ever. And as we got to know him, and as we got to understand his story, we realized that not only was he very, very committed to the LGBTQ community, but he was also very committed to his faith community. And for people who, I'm sure most people understand that those two worlds don't often intersect, and especially when someone who's grown up very deeply in a faith community, and in this case, in a lot of the Christian and Catholic communities across Canada and across North America, when kids, often in their early teens were coming out, they were often put into something called conversion therapy. And, and it is, when you sort of look at it, it's just so obvious how wrong conversion therapy is. But it was really a practice and a sanctioned medical and mental health practice for a very, very long time, for decades. And I did not know anything about this. Sharon did not know anything about this. And we were fascinated around this. And Daniel was so kindly introduced us to not only his story, but really the stories of many people he knew. And we were like, wait a second, this intersection of the queer community and the faith community, they really do intersect at a point. And to be able to grow up with God, if you will, almost be forced to leave that community because of being your authentic self, and then missing your relationship with your faith, and I guess in this case with God, to say it very directly, and coming back and finding a new relationship within a community, but as your authentic self. We thought, man, that is a real story of strength. That's a real story of resilience, and more importantly, it's a real story of hope and love. And so that's why that's why I wanted to get behind that, and I know that's very much what Sharon wanted to get behind. And Sharon, as a person with both Caribbean, she is of Caribbean descent and also of the queer community. She really felt this was made for us, by us, and I really wanted to support that.
So, who came up with the name With Wonder?
Well, With Wonder actually was taken a little bit out of Reverend Winnie's speech, and Reverend Winnie is she is a remarkable faith leader from New York City, and she came up and she gave a number of sermons around love. Really, that's the only way to put it. She just gave some remarkable sermons around love. And one of the lines, and I'm going to paraphrase it poorly, but is essentially, the creator looking down on his creations with love and with wonder, and us in turn looking back at, the creator with, and the spirit in the universe with love and with wonder as well. And so that stuck with Sharon and I, because, for a very long time we were, what can we call this? Because this was not, in no way were we trying to create a debate around any of this. I hope that makes sense. This was not about in any way the notion of trauma or trauma exploitation. This was really about us trying to really just show the stories of love, and that, Serena, one of our subjects, who was remarkable, she said, shame is not from God, shame is from people. And this is our message to people, really.
Right. So when you guys, so the message behind this film, this short film, like, what's the message?
I mean, really, it's
away the whole.
No. I mean, I don't think there is really anything to give away, and here's why. I mean, what our subjects so kindly did, and I keep saying subjects because, and it seems so very us and them, but really, what our fellow filmmakers really did was open up some truly difficult parts of their lives, especially as it pertained to loved ones and family and people close to them. And they really opened it up in a way that was just very direct. It was very direct to the camera, to the audience, to us. And there's no glossing over it. This is what happened. This is how it felt. And this is how we survived. This is our resilience, and this is really, again, our optimism and our love. And to see that strength, I mean, this is a film about strength. This is a film about love.
Right. Okay. So the film is about love and happiness and couples and a relationship. So how long did it take you guys to put this whole thing together?
Well, that's an excellent question. Oh, I mean, you know directly how productions work and the complexity of them, and just being able to coordinate, even just getting two people in front of two cameras at the same time.
Right.
So we started this in about mid 2018, and we sort of presumed, and we sort of presumed, okay, you know what, we're going to give ourselves a real year on this. And as we started to explore and meet more people, we realized we actually had to refine what we were doing. And we met a number of truly remarkable, just remarkable people who shared their stories. And those stories are going to come out and live on in other places. But within what we were working within what became With Wonder, we knew we had to actually refine a fair amount. That refinement process, between realizing that and COVID, suddenly made everything go from what we thought was realistically 12 to 15 months to suddenly the better part of 30 something months. And that's that. But I will say this, because we did not have any of the pressures. We did this without any of the pressures of a studio or a broadcaster or anything like that, and I'm really grateful for that. We had the opportunity, and Sharon and our editor Cade, they really had an opportunity to work at this and really refine this into a place, and to take the work that was done in so many locations and find the through line.
So some of the work was done in Montreal too, right? The filming, or just done in Toronto?
Actually, was so the places that we shot for all of this was Toronto, Calgary, arguably a little bit of Nova Scotia, a little bit of Kitchener-Waterloo, and then Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Like that one.
I wasn't allowed to go. We could only get two people there. So our wonderful exactly. So Sharon went with our wonderful DP Justin, and they managed to capture so many incredible things and also had some local support there. We captured a bunch at the first Pride down there in 2018. It was a real honor to be there, and we also captured in London, UK, where Reverend Jide is currently. He's built an entire faith community there within the queer community in London, UK, and he's just done incredibly remarkable, beautiful things there as well.
So how long is the film? The film, how long is it?
The film is I should know this off by heart, shouldn't I? The film is the film is approximately 73 minutes.
Okay, so it's a longer thing that you could sit down and watch.
Yeah, it's technically a feature documentary.
Okay, the documentary. So when you guys were shooting all this stuff, so what was the most funniest thing or the craziest thing that happened to you guys while you guys were shooting this film?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of crazy things.
Well, you could relate something to you if you don't want to relate for the other ones.
No. Here, and I wasn't present for a lot of this, but I was, we were in contact hourly, and this was certainly not on the funnier side, but on the harder side, there's still very specific laws in Jamaica, and this is, I mean, no disrespect to the Jamaican government or anything like that, but there's some laws there that really affect friends of ours and colleagues of ours and a number of the people that we've highlighted in our documentary. And I think I personally feel unfairly so, but I understand change takes time. And so consequently, shooting Pride down there, it was a very small very, very powerful gathering for their parade. And it was flanked by officers like with machine guns,
What?
keeping everyone in line. Yeah, and you see that in our film, and you see that, I mean, it was, and police vehicles and trying to, making sure that nothing was getting out of control. And you're like, wow, like that's there, our friends there, they're not the enemy. They're not, they were, they were actually, they're the ones needing the safety and the protection of the community. They're not harming the community. And so I think a lot of work has been done over the last several years, and Maurice, who, just another remarkable human being who's part of the film and was really helping to build and lead Pride down there, he and his team have continued to do such incredible work, but the struggles are still very, very real. And so that was, obviously that was something, just to have that kind of tension in the air. You fear for your crew, you fear for your director, and of course they pulled it off wonderfully. So some of the things that were really great though around this was when we would journey a little bit with our friends who we were capturing, we got to see a whole journey. So we would see, and I won't give some of this away, but you can see it in the film, just how things really turned, and how it was, and how I really believe the power of love really wins in all of this.
Okay. So is the movie out yet, or is it coming out?
So it is on CBC Gem right now.
Oh, okay.
I should confirm that, but it will be on CBC Gem momentarily, if not immediately. Okay. And then we have global distribution coming as well for all of the other markets. But it was something that Sharon and our team, we wanted to do this as small and as independently and as authentically as we possibly could. And the only way we could do this was to do it exactly as we did, and then slowly get it out to people like yourselves to kind of get the word out. And I think what's been happening right now, and I hope I put this in a way that makes sense and is also very respectful of the situations. But there is so much. There's so much dissension right now around the world, as especially just around the world. But and social media has contributed to that, and it's all very political, and everything's very political. And I don't think anything that we've done here is in any way political. I think that's what's really important. I think, for me, this isn't about a faith community or the queer community. This is about my community. Like these are our friends and our neighbors and loved ones, and new friends, new neighbors, new loved ones. So this is not about anyone else. I helped make this film because it needed to be made, and these are stories about resilience. These are not stories of being gay and believing in God. As Sharon actually really put, and she put this really wonderfully. She hopes that audience at least get a glimpse into the perspective that you don't need to choose between being queer and loving God. And I think as a human, regardless of your faith, or if you subscribe to an organized religion or not, or what your spiritual beliefs are, or what your orientation is or anything, I think we all as humans, every moment we have choices to make, but more importantly, we have perspectives to take in. And if we can actually, if in some small way this film helps to enhance people's perspectives, as it certainly has done for all of us who have worked on this film, it's enhanced so many wonderful things, then we've done our job. That's really what this is, just like I know you do. You have these conversations, right? Just so we can, because it's important. If we don't have these conversations, who's going to, right? It's really our responsibility. So that's why we made it.
So how did you feel when you knew you had to produce the parts in Jamaica and the different parts, and some people, were reluctant and they had all the machinery. So how did you had to do? You had to cut. I guess it was a lot of cutting.
Well, just so we're super clear, we really respected, and they were very respectful of us as well. We really respected the authorities and the police, and I would say I felt from the word back that I got from my team that overall the authorities were very respectful of the parade down there. They may not have always openly agreed with it. And that's just change takes time, and evolution takes time. But yeah, I think in many ways, kind of as an overall theme, like the way we approach this project and the filming of this in different places, sure, like, because of some of the laws and the culture in some of the places that we were filming, we had some real concern. But the real concern, and I mean this with all my heart, the real concern that we had was actually when we were, say, in San Francisco and we were speaking to some of our friends there and capturing their stories, or we were even here doing that, or or we were safely in a hotel in Jamaica or in London, UK. As much as some of those situations, that we're speaking of could have been really scary, the scary part was, are we actually authentically capturing and keeping space for our friends to tell their stories? And have we been able to do that and lay that out and present that in a way that is authentic to them? That was our entire concern before going anywhere, all the way up into the last time that we output a version of the film. So, we have concerns, as we always do. And I, as a producer, always have to have concerns for my team in that. But the real concern was, have we done and provided the right process and space for the people that we're working with?
Okay. Did you stay within budget or?
Boy, that's a hard question.
Everybody has a budget. Sometimes they go over budget and they're in budget, or.
So the honest truth of the matter is, we actually, because of how this came to be, and because of some of the initial incredible granting that we received from the arts councils, we knew pretty early on that it was probably not going to be enough.
Okay.
And so, I had the hard decision, and with all the support of the team, of like, where can we take this and how can we take this? And I just said, we finish it. We put in the time and therefore the resource to fulfill a budget that really actually didn't exist. So we kind of worked on it until it was done, until we felt it was done. So yeah, I don't mind telling you, technically, I guess we're way over budget, but if we never really had a budget, I guess we're
way
over
okay budget. I don't know.
It's one of the things I will always be most proud of being a part of and helping to fund. Absolutely. So no, I maybe over a budget in terms of what we thought initially we were going to try to accomplish. But if you're talking about an ROI, so to speak, a return on investment, no. We've put in so little compared to what we've gotten back from this.
Okay. So what more is coming up for your team? What other stuff are you going to be in the works? Do you have something in the works that you're doing already, or?
Yeah, there are so many things that, this project has brought. So, Sharon, our director, she's a remarkable human being, first and foremost. Forget about her skills as a director, but Sharon is, in the last long while, been directing remarkable television series, like, world-renowned television series, both here and abroad. There's some new film ideas that we have together. All of our team are doing remarkable things. Our cinematographers, our editors, all of them are doing some world-class things. And, and all of us still sort of coming out of COVID, as all of that's being sort of,
that must have been difficult for you guys to film, because, you had to be tested all the time, right?
Very much so. So we, a lot of the filming, we were lucky. We had a bunch of it we had really wrapped some of the away stuff before the restrictions were really brought down. But yeah, it made things difficult, and it certainly made things very difficult for us to be working together. And of course, as I'm sure you know, when you're in a collaborative, creative, technical team, you can't just do it like this. You can't be remote. You kind of want to sit together, and you want to be talking and looking at the same screens and hearing the same things. So I think that was really difficult for Sharon and Kate, our editor, at times, but they persevered. So, the next thing that we're going to be doing is actually releasing a number of the stories and interviews that we did not include within the film, as what we're going to have a better name than this, but sort of what we've internally called the With Wonder channel. And we're going to have those go out into the world on one of the video platforms, just for people to see and be able to react to, and hopefully they're more conversation starters. And there's a number of stories that we've captured that I'm really excited to have those out in the world, and also some extensions of some of the characters, the truly remarkable characters that we have, also that we're looking at doing that with as well. So that's going to be coming out over the next few months. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Season 1, season 2, or something like that, right? Or
yeah, these are more short form. Like these would be like, okay. But I'll tell you something. It's funny you mentioned that. We had captured so much, and the stories were so compelling, and the people that we were working with were so compelling. We're like, is this like a multi-episode documentary? Is this like, could this be, episodic? Could this actually go on? Could we capture this indefinitely?
Netflix, you never know.
So, we're just really excited that people will get an opportunity to view the film and to hear these stories and to meet these people who have, who've really affected so much change with us as well.
Okay. So, are there any shout outs that you want to give to anybody?
Well, there's just so many.
You could say your shout outs, because I'm telling you, people will ask.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're sweet. Well, we just started working with the team at BMR, who at Black Market Releases, and we are so excited with what they've been doing with their Caribbean Tales Festival, and to be working with them here in Canada it's a real honor. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to our global outside of Canada global distributor Espresso. But I could not really I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the work of some truly remarkable people. More people than I can list. You'll see them all in the credits, but obviously a huge shout out to Sharon and to Kate, and to Justin and Elise, Nora, Andriana, all the producers, associate producers, Cheyenne, of course, who's been doing such great work since we wrapped up the film. And so just want to say thank you to all of them. But more importantly, and most importantly, really thank you to everyone who so beautifully told their stories and were willing to tell their stories with us. And in this, and directly in With Wonder, to have Lady Phil and Reverend G-Day and Maurice, and all of them just so open. I will never understand that strength. I've never been tested that hard. And so I'm grateful that not only are there people who have been, but they can show how you can come through and just how much you can do in the world with that strength. So shout out to all of them.
Well, we're going to be watching you, Byron. Everybody's going to keep an eye on you, and you guys got to come back when you have your other films and your other stuff that's going on, because people like to keep up to date here what's going on in Real Life Matters, and say, well, what happened to them? They came on one time and that was it.
Well, we hope there's lots of things to talk about in the future, but yes. Genuine thank you to you for taking the time and for to explore the film and to explore the stories. It means a ton. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming on and explaining what's going on and challenges and everything you had going on with this, create this With Wonder. And I recommend people go and watch it. So you just got to stay tuned for the press release when it's coming out, correct?
Yep. Yep. There are a number of places that you can go to see this, but it'll be definitely coming out on CBC Gem here in Canada. And will be released around the world in the coming months.
And your social medias, where can people, if they want to look you guys up, where can they find you?
Oh, should we type that in?
No, just so you can just tell people.
The best way to do that actually would be at our Instagram and also the film website, which is in fact it's the With Wonder movie.com.
Okay, so it's under With Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So they can find it on Instagram and the Facebook page and stuff like that, right? And of course, go just look for the website. With you
yes,
guys,
exactly.
Releases. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I do want to thank you, Byron Kent Wong, for coming on. We know you got a little bit of Asian going on in you, so.
Oh, more than a little bit, my friend.
Which he didn't tell everybody where his background was, but that's all right because we got all kinds of people.
Fourth generation Chinese Canadian.
See, well, we got some Trinidadian Chinese that come on here. We got all kinds of people.
Respect.
They would like to know where you come from, but that's okay. But anyways, I do want to thank you, and I do want to thank the viewers tonight for tuning into our Real Life Matters. And stay tuned. Look out for With Wonder the movie, Black Market releases. So you guys can just follow when it's going to be coming out, so you guys can go watch it. So and I encourage that. All right, so everybody. All right, everybody. So bye for now.